We are back again, boys and girls. It is the Shits and Giggles podcast. I am your toothless terror, Jack Childress, and these are my friends, Robin Veneri and Kathy Jolynn, finally getting to get in on her first episode of the brand new show. Glad to see you back on this thing with us again. I'm pumped. I don't know what else to say. I'm pumped. I've talked to this guy numerous times before. It never gets any less exciting. I never get any less nervous because we got the guy, the AUD creator, the guy that gives me my Diggory eventually, the guy that is just out there with dragons and all kinds of awesomeness, the one and only Chris Philbrook. Chris, welcome back to the show. I know we got a lot to talk about today because you've got something brand new up your sleeve, and I can't wait to check it out. So
Hey,
first off, though, how have you been doing, man? You been staying busy?
Yeah, I mean, it's always busy. I got two little ones running amok, and they've got school stuff every day, and we've got work, and we bought an old house last year, and it requires a ton of work. So, I mean, it's good. It's just busy.
Well, man, I tell you what, I am absolutely digging that you're here because you're not kidding. You literally texted me about your boiler going out, and now you've got that to freaking deal with, and yet you still taking the time for us. So thank you so much for doing that. Much appreciated.
Of course. Yeah, the guy's in the basement right now as I speak, and he got it running. It's running right now, and the heat is working, and he didn't have to bring any parts in. So I think something electronic needed to be reset that was beyond my technical capability.
Well, at least we got that going for us. Jeez. All right. Well, now everybody knows you for Adrian's Undead Diary. We've been there, done that. Diggory is still kind of on the come up, so people get more and more into that. Elmerin, fantastic, loved it. Everything you put out has been fantastic. But dude, you're dipping your toe, if not diving full in head first, into the up and coming brand new hot thing that's out there, the LitRPG universe with the Undead Glitch.
Yep.
What inspired you to take that route?
So going back a long time, back into the late 90s, early 2000s, I was a game developer for 3 years. And I worked for a company called WizKids, which does tabletop miniature gaming and stuff like that. And I have been some form or another of gamer as long as I can remember. And I got my start writing during my time in game development, where I was working on stuff, little fiction blurbs for the website and little stories we'd put into the rule books and all that stuff. So the idea of gaming writing came before novel writing. And when I started to write AUD in 2010, it was totally separate from gaming stuff. It was just a story, a Zombpox story that I was writing for a friend of mine. And the hope was that I was always going to somehow be able to steer my writing career back towards, that original passion of gaming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I started writing after I was wrapping up Adrian, was the Elmorin trilogy, which Elmorin, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but Elmorin was a setting for a role-playing game that I had been developing when I was working in development. And I have the rights to the setting. So I was like, dude, I'm going to write a book in the game that I designed, right? Like, what better way to come back to this project that I worked on for like 5 years. And Elmorin, had some fans and did okay, but wasn't enough to keep the ship afloat all by itself. And then the Tesser series is loosely based on a role-playing campaign that I did when I was a kid. I took elements of it and incorporated that into the story. And recently, the last, 3 years or so, the LitRPG community has kind of come up, and it started online. It started kind of in Russia, Korea areas where they basically wrote novels set inside the process of a game. So, if you're playing D&D, you're basically telling the story of your character as they play, and you're including the talk about game mechanics. And a big series that's, out there right now that's, kind of tearing up the charts is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
which has become wildly popular in the last year or so. Just got optioned for TV. It's in production. Just got a webtoon. It's in hardcover in stores across the world. And there's a bunch of other books that are in the genre that are also really good. And it was about a year ago or so. My wife was like, "Why aren't you trying to write one of these?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I've just never done it, and kind of a new genre, and I don't know." And she was like, "Why aren't you trying to write one of these?" I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "You should do it because I think you'd really like it." Okay. And then I had an idea for a story, of course, because I do, because my brain never shuts off. And I just started writing, and it was awesome.
Oh, fantastic! Now, will Undead Glitch be more of a smooth kind of lit RPG, or is it going to be one of those crunchy where we're getting all kinds of stats and upgrades and details?
It is going to be, the idea is that it's a trilogy, at least, probably 4 books. And I wrote the first book, and it has an ending where, it's open. You know that there's going to be more. And my hope is, and I don't want to give too much away, but at the end of this story, there will be the end. But it will also be set up that if there's an audience for it and people are digging it, I can just start a whole new series at the end of it, and it can just continue to run. But we'll see.
That's actually a very interesting idea of doing it that way. And excuse me, thank you. Nothing about having a cat guaranteed total privacy. Anyway, carry on with it, Robin.
What the hell is LitRPG? I don't know anything about it.
Okay,
the genre itself.
Yeah, so there's a couple of genres that are all being lumped together under the LitRPG banner. LitRPG is technically one of those 3. And then there's game lit, and then progression fantasy. And like I was saying earlier, essentially you are reading a story about someone who has been put into a situation where their existence has been gamified, where everything about who they are has a statistic attached to it, and they're getting abilities as they level up or do quests or achievements or explore or whatever. If you don't talk about the game mechanics at all, it's game lit. So if you know they're in a game world, but you're not talking about the numbers and the special abilities, that's game lit. If it just follows the idea of do a thing, get more powerful, do a thing, get more powerful, where like the character is getting more abilities, that's progression fantasy. Lit RPG combines the two, where the character is progressing through a story or a game setting and gaining powers, and you talk about how the mechanics work. Where they have this ability, they can use it X times a day, it does X damage, or it can make them fly for this long or whatever. And as a game developer, that like scratches that nerd itch for me, because I get to like tell a story and I get to tell people how all the cool powers work. But yeah, it's become like really quite popular. It has a massive following, and there's some really great personalities out there writing in the field that are really accessible and really sweet and helpful, and I'm excited.
And I'll tell you, one of the ones I've recently,
that's awesome.
I haven't really communicated with him a lot, but especially I haven't DM'd him yet, but eventually I'm going to, is Haylock Jobson. He's got the Heretical Fishing books, and I mean, those things are just, they're nice, light reading, cozy style.
Yep.
I take it Undead Glitch is not going to be cozy.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Nope. Yeah, there's a whole sub genre of cozy, which is like not intense, no horror elements, lots of just kind of fun adventure. They also call it day in a life, where you're basically just like along with someone who's living in this cool, world setting, and there's things that they do and tasks and whatnot, and wildly popular subsection. One of my buddies, Timothy Long, who used to write, I don't know, I remember Jack if you read any of his stuff, but he had a very successful Zombok series for years. And
where I think I've got his book here.
He
somewhere.
went into, Tim's great. And he moved over into LitRPG for the same reasons why I'm talking about doing it. And he has a cozy LitRPG story. Gosh, the name of it escapes me right now. But basically it's like the villain. And the villain's like, doesn't really want to be a villain. And it's a cozy, just kind of a fun, the bad guy reevaluating his life decisions and, whatever. And there's another cozy series by Travis Baldry where it's, I forget what it's called, Legends and Lattes or something like that, where it's like an orc fresh off the battlefield that opens up a cafe and just decides to like make coffee for adventurers. And that's the story.
Man, critters always get involved in these shows. It's just part of it. I mean, hell, Patty used to have her 2 dogs fighting each other on the bed behind her during an interview. So, I mean, no big deal. Well, Kathy, you had a question for him that you brought up to me, then you brought up again in the green room. I think it's time you drop the hammer.
Yes. What in the ever-loving God is brown bread in a can?
All right. So it's a New England thing. It's definitely a Northeast product. And it is exactly what it is. It's a dense brown bread that has a chewy consistency to it. Not fudgy, but it's bread and it has a denseness to it. I don't know if you've ever, like, regular sourdough can have like a kind of chew to it. It's like that, but not airy. And it has a molasses base flavor. So it's on the sweeter side and it's typically served with baked beans. And you can make it at home and, you can make the batter and bake it and it comes out and it's not in a can. But the bean companies up here, B&M Baked Bean is the big one up in Portland, Maine. They make their own brown bread that you can buy in the store right next to the beans. And it's brown bread in a can. And they bake it, put it in a can and seal it, and it stays fresh inside the can. And when you get home, you pop it open and you have to pop both sides off. And then you push the bread out of the tin and you have a tin-shaped loaf of bread. And me personally, I cut it up into little round slices, like a little English muffin puck, and you can toast it and put butter on it, and it's delicious. It's just like molasses, like a molasses brownie. It also comes with raisins. You can get it with raisins in it. That's
no.
And you can also put cream cheese on it if you want to.
Yeah,
that might be good.
There was a food storage warehouse that I worked for a few years, and we carried the B&M product in our warehouse, and we had both kinds of bread. We had the regular brown, and we had the raisin bread, plus we had the beans, and that was the first time I had ever seen something like that, and I'm like, what the hell is this, And to this day, I still never tried it, but now after hearing your description of it,
it don't sound too bad.
It does not sound bad at all.
It's good. It's not gross. It's just, a dense bread that you can get in a can.
A whole hell of a lot better than unsweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
That's a sin. Unsweet tea is a sin.
Truth. Yeah, it can be kind of polarizing, like, pineapple on pizza or.
Oh, that's good. I like Canadian bacon and pineapple on a pizza. Yeah.
Preach. But it's like pineapple on pizza or cranberry relish versus cranberry sauce, the jelly out of the can, right? Like some people will only eat one and not the other. So in that way, brown bread can be selective.
Well, while we're on it, which one are you, can or the relish style?
I like both.
Okay, good. All right. See, I'm the can guy. I want mine jiggling, coming right out of there, and I'm just having to go.
Yeah, I served the can at Thanksgiving. My dad used to make it fresh. He'd get the cranberries, get out the meat grinder, put them through that after doing his thing and all that. And that was just too much trouble. I get ocean spray, cranberry sauce in a can. Put the can in the fridge, chill it, and then put it on a plate, slice it. There you go. Yeah. Easy peasy.
Being harassed by my damn cat over here. All right, it's time for a random question, just to kind of throw things off a little bit.
Ready.
With you being up in the Northeast and, a couple of us being deep south down here, Do you say crayfish or crawfish? He's thinking
I'm
awful
not
hard.
sure.
Really?
Well, I lived in Arkansas for a year, and I've traveled, so I think I'm more of a crawfish.
It's a crawdaddy.
I also say crayfish, and I also sometimes say mudbug.
Mudbug, yes. Mudbug is acceptable. Ding, point for the win.
Yeah. Up here, though, I think like the default is probably crawfish.
Well, good. For some reason, I've always assumed that the further north you go, the more it becomes cray. I
don't think so. Maybe.
They're crawdaddies.
Crawdads. Crawdads.
No, we don't say that. We don't have them up here. You can't get them up here. The only way we get those is if someone brings them up. It's just like lobsters, right? Like up here, lobsters are at every store, and you can get them fresh the day they catch them. But you can't get mud bugs.
All right. Well, while being book related, and yet totally random, because this is something that through your work you have made a legendary thing. So this is on you, not my fault. I didn't do it. Explain why banana boxes rule.
They're sturdy. There was a period in time where I was moving, and I think I was like, 18, 20. So like probably, my first big move. And I remember thinking, all right, I got to get boxes. And up here, there's like 2 places to get boxes in the Northeast, right? 2 default places. And the first one's the liquor store.
Yeah.
You can go to the liquor store, and they always have the liquor boxes. But those are fairly small, right? And the other one is banana boxes. And if you're lucky, you go into the grocery store, you head to the produce department, and you say, hey, do you guys have any banana boxes? They're great because they're a really heavy gauge cardboard. They're very sturdy, right? The bottom does have an opening, but they usually put like a heavy paper over it. And if you put something flat on the bottom, it's, makes it even more sturdy. It also has a lid that goes over the top of it, right? And when you lid it, the handles on, I think all of the sides have handles, allow you to hold the lid on while you're transporting it. And it's just as sturdy as the base. And it holds quite a bit without having to worry about breakage. I think they hold like 50 or 60 pounds without, stressing it. And I remember at that point in time in my life, going to the liquor store and getting a few boxes and being like, all right, this isn't cutting it. They're not big enough to store my XYZ. And then going to the grocery store and getting banana boxes and being like, holy crap, like these are so much better. Like this is the ideal box for moving. And then from that point on, every time I was moving for the rest of time, it was like, all right, now first stop, we got to hit the bananas. Like we got to make sure they got banana boxes.
Matter of fact, I've got a banana box sitting right here. That's funny.
Yeah, they're fantastic boxes. Up here, there's usually like a wait list, and I'm not kidding. You go into the produce department of the grocery stores up here, and hey, do you guys have any banana boxes? I'm like, oh, actually, we got 3 people, who are coming to get them before, and you can come back on Thursday. All right.
Damn. Now, has it ever been confirmed or denied that those people that were already reserving the banana boxes were AUD fans? I mean,
I did not ask. I can only
honestly, until I read your series and we got to the banana box part, I'd never thought about that. Even though I've handled banana boxes before, it just never really occurred to me. Holy crap, this thing is strong, man. We can do a lot with this damn thing.
Yep. You can see in the top too, so like what's in it.
Yeah. Now, when you were writing AUD, and I know I hate to keep going back to it, but since we're on banana boxes, how early in the process of writing, because it was all emails early on, which a lot of people may not know, it wasn't just sit down, write a book, it was emails with friends. Did you go, dude, I got to work banana boxes into this?
Oh, God. The banana box part comes up fairly early in what is now book 1. And I mean, you're totally right that the story began as me emailing my buddy Joe. And when the story was he and I exchanging, the chapters, the entries, it was me. I was writing him a story about me surviving the apocalypse because I thought that would be fun, right? And I don't have to worry about coming up with a character or keeping track of any story. It was just me, and I was writing it to entertain just him. So I can't forget how far into the story I was before it was like, all right, let's try and do something with this and show it to people. And now I don't want it to be me. I want to make a character. And that's how Adrian took over. But when I was writing it for just Joe, my friend, I was putting in lots of little jokes and little, places and stuff that, only him or, the 5 or 6 people I was close to during high school and the years after would like pick up on. There's little Easter eggs in there that only those people will know. And one of them is the brown bread thing. We have a running joke about brown bread, the banana box thing, the cranberry relish thing. There's so many little like idiosyncrasies of our childhoods that showed up in the story. So I wouldn't say it was ever part of the plan to put it in there, but when moments came up in the writing where it was like, oh, I can talk about this thing that we did. That'll be fun for them. And then it turns out it's fun for almost everybody who's read it or listened to it.
Dude, you have made the Halligan like a household word amongst people that are fans. I mean, it's like I want one now. I've been thinking about heisting a freaking fire truck just out of random. Oh, they're in the middle of a fire. They're not paying attention. Halligan. And be out of here with it, like, dude, so many things you have put out there have become super iconic, which in a way, because I'm going to admit straight up, I am a massive DCC fan, Dungeon Crawler Carl, for those who don't know the lingo. And I have the webtoon. I've literally got the webtoon thing, the whole 9 yards. And yet it still irritates me that you aren't following that path right now. You're not on that trajectory right now because the fans of what you do are dedicated. Like, we are all in. I mean, we're talking banana boxes and Halligans and freaking brown bread in a can. And it's like everything matters to us. It's like, what the hell? Why do we keep getting passed over here? It's like, dude, seriously, let's go. But
hey,
now,
I'm happy for Matt. He deserves his success. He's a good guy. So
now, have you got to ever meet him in person?
I have not. He and I have had very surface conversations on Facebook and through social media. I am much closer with several people who are much closer to him, who hang out with him, and they're bigger authors in the LitRPG field, and they've been coming up alongside at the different times. And Matt wrote a fantastic story and obviously was in the right place at the right time, but he wrote a great story. He has great characters. Like, he deserves this success. I'm super happy for him. But the guys that I know that I've hung out with that are associated with him more closely are also just great people. So,
well, hell to the yeah. All right, Robin, jump in here because I know this is kind of odd waters for you. You're not real up on everything Chris got going on. You definitely ain't up on the LitRPG thing. Throw something out there. I want to see how Chris squirms.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about zombies. We're going to do a slow zombie, a running zombie, a really fast one, or zombie animals.
if I had to pick one,
What's your take? Yep.
oh, I mean, I would rather deal with slow zombies all day. I'm way too fat to deal with fast zombies. And animal zombies are frankly terrifying.
Very.
They come at you much lower and they're harder to see. And like, I joke about it, but I think I could shoot somebody faster than I could kill a dog.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I'd have a hard time doing a dog or a cat.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. A rat, no big deal. But yeah, domesticated, yeah.
Oh crap! Cover your ears, Angel. Shit, too late. You already heard her say she'd kill a rat. But kind of thing.
What about there's a zombie series, and I can't remember what it was, on TV, and there is a zombie baby.
Z Nation.
That was like a toddler crawling. Yes, that's
Z Nation.
What do you think about that? Yes.
Mixed feelings. I think one of the, when I'm talking to people about zombie stuff, like one of the things that I constantly come back to is the idea of like, well, what's the root cause, right? Like what's creating the situation that this is happening? Like, what's the motivating factor? Is it chemicals? Is it a virus? Is it a disease? Is it God? Is it the devil? Like you have to, voodoo, whatever. So for me, like whatever that root cause is makes it yes or no to zombie babies, right? So step one. After that, from like a pure morality standpoint, I don't like doing stuff with babies. I don't like talking about them in a way that puts them in danger. And the few times that zombie kids have showed up in my stories, it's been really small, really intense, and then I move past it as fast as possible. So I mean, I'm okay with it as long as the story makes sense for it to have happen.
In Z Nation, though, how did Murphy, if he has zombie in him, how did Murphy get her pregnant to have the zombie baby?
Right.
And she came out blue.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Z Nation, you just have to kind of go into it accepting that like it isn't going to make any sense, but it's going
right. I loved it.
Like,
I loved it.
Full on suspension of disbelief.
A lot of people hated it, and I just thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Z Nation. It was great. Doc was awesome.
When I was standing on that, piggybacking off that, there's also in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, there's the scene where the woman's had the baby and it's already turned, and dude has to take it out, and it's like, wow, heavy.
Yeah. Oh, which one is it where they're in the mall?
That's Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
Is that Dawn of the Dead where she has the baby?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're in the mall?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
Mall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I watched so many different zombie movies and shows that it's like, okay, snippets from here, snippets from there. And, it's like, which one did that come from? Yeah.
There is a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
they have the zombie museum at the mall that you can go in and see all the Dawn of the Dead stuff and, books and movies and take a tour of the mall. I mean, they're talking about, demolishing it to put a Walmart in there, but you'll have to see that. It's cool.
Hey, the real question is, will they let you splash around in that fountain? Remember the little fight scene with the zombie and the guy in the fountain? I want to be able to get in the fountain.
Yeah, I don't even think they turn it on until it's like a zombie weekend. They don't.
Oh, wow.
I love zombies. I mean, ever since I got to play Resident Evil for the first time, it was like zombies galore. I love the Resident Evil, and that got me hooked with anything zombie. I don't know why, but it just did. I mean, I started out with Diablo, first video game. Went from there. I mean, my brother played D&D. Yes, sat in on some of that. I just couldn't grasp it, But I do like my WoW and EverQuest and like that online, though. I do like playing those. So, but having to create, I just couldn't get into that. But zombies, I'll take them all day long. And boy, let an apocalypse happen. I'd be more than happy to brain shoot one of them. I tell you what, I'm ready for that.
Kathy, you're about
to I've got my zombie axe, my zombie knife, my backpack set up for them. I'm ready. So
you're gonna wind up being a character in one of Chris's books. I'm telling you something right now. You're gonna wind up being in there, some crazy, lady with a bunch of cats, hiding out somewhere, and the crew gonna roll up and find her, and she's gonna be, I'm ready to shoot something.
Hey, I don't mind. I'm already in one, so why not? Yeah, I'll even take a horrified death. I don't care. I'll take one for the team. I don't care.
You brought up Resident Evil, and that makes me think one of the biggest inspirations of the new book that I've got coming out, Undead Glitch, was the Resident Evil franchise, because it's a zombie video game. And in the book, the main character joins a zombie apocalypse game, and a lot of it is, I mean, the whole setting really is like a mixture of the Resident Evil video game franchise and my Adrian's book series, where, you know, the experience is like Resident Evil, but it's set kind of in the town where AUD takes place. So it kind of crosses both paths, and it gives me permission to have like crazier zombies and like different situations, which has been super fun to write.
That sounds very interesting. I'm intrigued.
Just because I'm a big Deadpool
That's
fan.
January 7th.
Correct.
Ah,
I have to ask, will there be any fourth wall breaks?
No. But the book is very self-aware of itself. All of the chapter headings are like the narrator talking to the reader. So they're very like tongue-in-cheek and again like self-aware of what's about to happen. And I posted the table of contents on my author page a couple of months ago, and if you go down and you read them all, they're all like they're meant to be humorous, and some of them are just like making fun of itself, which is essentially breaking the fourth wall.
Freaking love it. All right, now I got to ask you this then. With your main character, is he a lot like Adrian, or did you just go a completely different route?
Seth is definitely his own guy. I didn't want to do Adrian again, because part of what I'm experiencing right now, as I write the 16th book of Adrian, is I need a break from Adrian. Living inside,
a bit tiresome.
Yeah, just living inside his head, writing a book is a lot. And 16 books deep into the series, plus the 7 books in the other series, plus Carl's 3 books, I've had that one universe churning now since 2010. I am now 15 years in of just thinking about that all the time. And the splash damage that I struggle with mightily now, and every book it gets harder and harder, is keeping track of everybody and everything. Resources are really important, right? So I have to be aware of how much gas they have, how many bullets they have, how many medicines they have, do they have this antibiotic and whatever. And the more people who join the story, it's more people to remember and keep track of, and what happened with them the last time we saw them, and remembering where people are. And that continuity work is a lot. So starting this new series, I get to start off as scratch, yay. And I wanted Seth to be different, but also have a lot of similarities to me. And Seth takes place in the future, right? In the far future. And Seth lives on a massive space station that's, it's big enough that there's grass and forest and, water, and it's just enormous and has its own gravity. And that's just the way people live now. It's no big deal. And he, has a job. He works at a company called Polyzon, which is like Verizon. But it's, more high tech. They have like little implants they put in your ears to get your cell phone coverage kind of stuff. And he works a second job doing customer service at home, on his couch. He gets home from there and then starts his second job. And he has 2 sons, and his wife is struggling with stuff. And he's just like trying to figure it out, and he's a dad to 2 boys, and he is broke and like doesn't know what to do. And he finds out he's sick. And one of the things that he can do to get well is get a job that has nanite injections that offer medical assistance, right? And nanites are super tiny little robots, and they can get an injection into him where his body just gets flooded with these little tiny robots, and they'll identify where his cancer is and then destroy it. And he's like, well, where can I get a job like that? I don't know how to do anything. I work at Verizon. And someone's like, hey, you could get a job working for one of these giant, immersive games. And while you're inside the game environment, it's like a physical space where they have the game, the nanites will just heal you. So you just got to get a job. And that's like how the story kind of starts. And Seth is his own character because, he's a dad. Adrian's not a dad. And he's got the family issues differently than Adrian. And he has no fighting experience whatsoever. He's only been in a couple of fist fights his whole life. and he has had like zero respect his entire life, right? Like his wife treated him badly. His sister, gives him shit all the time. His boss doesn't give a crap about him. He's just a number. And he's just like trying to be a good person for his kids and trying to make ends meet, and is like so not an alpha male at all, which Adrian can step into that role when he believes it's necessary. And Seth is just not that dude. Like, he's just trying to help everybody. And there are parts in the book where he like has to try and lead, and he does pretty good when he does it, but he's not macho. He's not that like alpha guy. He's more just trying to figure it out. And I really wanted to write a character like that.
Just a regular dude, just out here doing the thing, putting it up, putting it down, getting it done, doing it all, and then all of a sudden he winds up in freaking hell. Is that basically how we would describe that? Like, he is going to a bad place. Because usually when there's zombies involved, it ain't good.
Well, it's a game, right? So when he signs up, it's a game, right? He's just going to be in this place, and the zombies they're only attacking the players, and he's supposed to be like a merchant at a store, and they're not going to attack him, and they're not actually biting anybody. It's all, it's the nanites are messing with your perception, so it looks like all of this is happening, but it's not.
Virtual reality form.
Yeah. And but it's indistinguishable from real life because the nanites are actually in your brain, pushing all the buttons so you see and feel and taste and smell. But when he loads in, there's a glitch, hence an undead glitch. And instead of loading in as an NPC who's supposed to be safe, he loads in as a player. And he's like, I don't really want to do this. Like, I'm supposed to be working, right? Like, I'm supposed to be getting paid to do this. Players don't get paid. They pay to play. And he gets stuck inside a game that, he's like, I don't want to play this, but they're like, all right, look, you can stay. We can't change you back to an NPC, but we will continue to pay you, but you have to like work for us inside the game as a player. So we're going to make you go to certain places to do certain things because it's all televised. And, that way you can like expose content that's never been done before. So like, if no one's ever explored this building in town, we're going to send you there to explore it so it can show up on TV and people will be excited about it. But once he gets into the game, he realizes that like, it's not exactly what everyone says it is. And
sounds like Tron a little bit.
There's definitely elements like Tron. Yeah. He finds out that the glitch that caused him to load in wrong it continues to glitch, and he keeps kind of like seeing behind the curtain, and what they say is going on in the game is not necessarily what's actually going on.
So there may be a conspiracy here.
Yeah. And he realizes that if he dies in the game, right, if the video game zombies kill him in the game, he loses his job.
Oh.
And he's going to die of cancer.
Oh.
So if he dies in the game, he's going to die in real life.
Ouch.
So he basically is like, I can't afford to die. Like, I must stay alive. And in order for me to stay in the game, I must do the things that these people are telling me to do. So I must figure out a way to stay alive because I got to go home to my boys and I got to not die.
You just had the freaking, towards the end of the movie, Pixels just flashed through my head when the kid is talking to Adam Sandler about be the guy and don't die.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I got chills, dude. I ain't kidding. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear that audiobook in my freaking ear holes.
Oh, and the audio is insane. Steve, the guy I'm narrating it, is like unbelievably good. He's like gone all out. We have sound effects, there's music, there's voices. Like the production value is like 10 out of 10 on this. It's going to be so good.
Dude, I didn't know any of that extra stuff you just said. I just figured it's going to be narrated and it was going to be done well because, well, they are done well. But holy crap, you're going to like no free advertisements, but Sound Boost Studio level here, you know?
Yeah.
Taking it to the next level. Holy crap.
That sounds really good because sound effects and all that with audibles. Yeah.
For real. Well, now, while I'm thinking about it, because they've been advertising them a lot more lately, and more authors are starting to do them. Have you ever thought about doing one of those stay alive in AUD, like one of those choose your fate kind of books?
We were joking around. My wife and I were joking around a couple of years ago about doing a choose your own adventure kind of thing, and they're not too challenging to write because they're just what's called if then logic, right? Where if you do this, then this happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you railroad them into a choice, and you say here's A or B, and then you write A or B, right? And then you go down to A, and you say, all right, then here's the choice that A gets, right? And if you do A or B, then you do, and you're just building this like little tree of things, and it's not really that hard to do. That being said, it's a whole other book. And choose your own adventure stuff is hit or miss,
Yeah.
and there isn't a great way to advertise it. And Amazon is not set up to promote them that well.
Really?
I don't think they have a category for it, or at least when we were looking into it, they didn't. So, is it a game because it's choose your own adventure? Or is it a novel because it's fiction? Or is it a game book? Like, there's no great way to do it. And if people can't find it on Amazon, then there's no point in doing it.
True enough. Okay, fine. Point taken.
Would it be fun? Yeah, it'd be super fun.
Hell yeah, it would be, because I'd die every time. Still.
That'd be my luck. Yeah.
All over it. All right, Robin, I know you got something over there.
Can you, Chris, can you give a shout out to your narrator for the book?
Oh,
Let us know who it is.
Yeah, Steve Van Samson is the guy who's doing the recording, and Steve is local. He lives about probably 45 minutes from me, and we met through the horror writers group that's in this area. And he is also a writer. He has several books out under his own sort of flagship. He has a dark fantasy novel called Mark of the Witchworm, which I blurbed for him. And it's great. Jack, if you liked Elmoran, it is very much like in that dark fantasy, gritty kind of way. It's a really terrific book. And he narrated that for himself. And Steve has a podcast called Retro Redoctopus, which is like an 80s and 90s nerd culture podcast where they just like talk about something from those 2 decades, once a week. And it's great. I've been on it once or twice. And he does all the sound design for that. And when I listened to the Mark of the Witchworm, and I was like, dang, like that's really good. And then I heard all of the work that he does to make the podcast sound terrific. I was like, I wonder if he could do the both. Like, I wonder if he could do that. And he and I hung out at a local writers conference last May. And I was like, do you think you could do that? Like, would you be willing to? And if you can, and how much would it cost? And he was like, yeah, I think I can do it. And, we'll figure that out. And we landed at a reasonable number. And I was like, all right, here, try and narrate it like this. And just take these, 5,000 words and run with it. And he sent me back the sample. And I was like, I got goosebumps. It was like, oh, God, that sounds amazing. Like, and you can do this. You can do the whole book like this. He's like, yeah, man, it's no problem. Because he just sets up the files and the channels and the tracks and just goes. And his brother does chiptunes music, which is like the video game, like pixelated music that you'd hear in like Atari or original Nintendo. Exactly. So his brother, Tim, he and I got together and we designed like the level up noise, the quest achievement noise, the anything that happens in the book where something cool happens in the game. There's like a diddle-diddle-diddle noise that happens. And at the beginning of the book, we have like a book theme song that plays like when the credits roll kind of thing.
Oh.
And all of the characters in the book that are like electronic have their own voices, so like the game master has a voice and he has an AI assistant that like helps him with stuff, and she has her own voice, and it's it's just amazing. And Steve's just
people would look at me so crazy in the car if I'm listening to something like that, because I make facial expressions when I'm listening to my books in the car. Because I'm in my own little world and listening to it, and they say something funny, and here I am, I'm laughing at something, and I'm the only person in the car. So people are like, what's wrong with this person? Because, you're either laughing or you're raising your eyebrows or you're just like, huh? What? Why? What? you know. So
All right, real quick random then. I'm just going to piggyback off that one. When you guys are listening to an audiobook, when a scene is described where a person like makes a certain head gesture or whatever, the moment you hear it, you kind of do it yourself.
yes, I do. I'm bad about it. Or raise an eyebrow, you know, or scowl. Yep. I'm bad about that.
Chris, do you do that?
Yep.
Thank God we're not weird, or maybe we are weird. I don't know, but
We
either
are
way,
weird.
Yeah.
My people.
But I mean, how can you not? It's instinct, you know, it's like, okay, you know, because you're in that world, you're there, you know, that's your reality at that moment. So you're kind of like that person. So you're going to make that expression or feel that moment that they're feeling, you know. So it's like, Chris, I just started reading your book when Jack had said something about it, and it's got me intrigued. I'm enjoying it so far, and boy, he's got a foul mouth though. But
And so do I.
it's some of the stuff he's doing. It's like, okay, that's smart, got that right, and then it's just, you know, his mom having to do his mom in. I felt for him, but then again, the way he was describing what his mom, how she treated him, it's like, hey, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I feel that. I understand where you're coming from. And then, yeah, it probably did feel really good to do that, you know, because, yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers here. No spoilers for a book that's going on 16. You know, at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah. That's why I'm not going too far, you know, or saying exactly what happened. But yeah, and I love the idea of the school. The school is an awesome, and the fact that there's maps in the book of the location, you know, because then you get the feel of it. You know, kind of put me into the Walking Dead feel. You know, like when they're at the prison and stuff. You know, you get the idea of what he has to deal with.
Yeah.
Shut up, Miss Phipps. You get the idea of the feel of what's going on. Yeah. So yeah, I like it.
Thank
All
you.
right, scatterbrained radio again. I want to go back to you talking about the recording and the sound effects and the stuff you used. What is something that he used as a sound effect that would be almost considered just kind of the random, most odd thing that he did during the thing? Like some weird sound effect that you didn't even expect.
I think we worked together on the creation of all of them.
Okay.
I don't think he's done anything out of the blue. He did, or he does, accents well, and he'll ping me. He actually sent me a message before I jumped on the video chat here, where he was like, "Hey, I'm going to make this person German. Is that okay?"
Uh-huh.
And it's like, well, sure. You know, like that person has no stated accent or origin. So if you want to do that, sure, great. And he's done that a few times where it was like, can I make this person English? Yeah, sure. You know, like I didn't say anything in the book, so why not? And that's been a fun surprise where, you know, people who, as a writer, right, when I'm writing dialogue for somebody and like imagining a situation of characters exchanging things or saying something, I very frequently say it out loud. And I'll say it differently many times over until I say it the way I want it to show up in the book, right? And then knowing the version, the recording that I like, I will then try to write the descriptive prose to match how I said it in the real world, right? Because there are certain things you want to have delivered a certain way, right? And it's like that old joke where it's like you can insert the F-bomb anywhere in a sentence and it'll work, but it changes the meaning of the sentence based on where it shows up. So writing dialogue is like that. And you know, when you're working on dialogue like that, I'm like a crazy person, like you're in the car listening to it. I'm in my office and he said, And he said, no. Yeah. And like, I'll just go through and it's, it's like part of the process, I guess.
Okay, now that actually takes me back to your good old buddy Carl Meadows. Hello, mate. I know you hate it when I do this, governor, but what the hell? You can shoot me later. But he had told me once, he said, use the read aloud thing. Because I was using, I use Word. He said, use the read aloud. That way you can hear it being spoke back to you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a new one for me to add to the freaking list of things to do. I'd never thought about just reading it out loud myself, I mean, and holy crap.
You catch so many errors that way too.
Well, hot damn. Okay, now again, we're still going to keep going back because I'm all about this Undead Glitch right now. I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm ready. I need it now. Like you said, you're going to do the first book and you're going to check the temperature of the water. Is there something here? So, has that affected your ideas on like character development going forward?
For that series, which is called the Corrupted Campaign, I have gone into the first book with the first 4 books roughly outlined already.
Okay.
Roughly. So, I have the main characters that I know, are going to show up at certain points. I have the main antagonists, the villains, I've got those side characters, the NPCs that are going to come in and out of the story, the big ones at least. And I have them kind of, laid out. And then I've got the arcs of each book, right? Like, okay, this book ends here. So that means this one starts here. And then these things need to happen. And then it ends here. And, just the basics. So the issue is once you start writing, you're writing all the stuff in between, right? Like, and so that's the stuff that I haven't described, and that's where the work is. And oftentimes when you're doing that, you take a left that you didn't think you were going to take, and a character that was only supposed to be a throwaway character, you suddenly really like, and it makes sense to have them do things instead of this character who wasn't going the way I thought they would, So I am organized enough to see what will happen. In the book, there's a character that I don't want to give it away because literally like 2 people have read this book so far. He went in a direction that I decided like at the very last second, like pretty spontaneously. I'm like, what if I had this guy do that instead? And was like, we're doing it. Like just did it, and I'm glad I did because it added this like extra layer of complexity that brought a little bit more oomph to a scene that already had enough oomph, but it's like, ooh, let's go from a 9 to a 10 here. And I'm excited because I had not foreseen that character going in that direction. And now it's like, oh, like that's going to be so much fun to write about in book 2 and maybe book 3. So that's how, with the character development, that's kind of where I'm at. Okay.
So, but you've got the prep work done. It's just over here. We haven't made tacos yet, but we got the taco shell, we got the lettuce, we got the tomatoes, we got the meat. It's all over here. We just haven't put them together yet. We're just waiting. Okay. Had me worried. I was afraid you just kind of got to the end of the first one and went, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see, go from here. No.
We're definitely going to see what happens. I am hustling on this book behind the scenes more than I think anything else I've ever done other than when AUD was getting rolling, back in 2010, 2011, because I, from an outside the story perspective, right? Like Chris, the man, not, Chris Philbrook, the author, AUD is wrapping up. Right. I've been writing this series since 2010 and I'm on book 16 and I need a break and maybe I'll come back to it in a couple of years. But right now I need to park it and let it do its thing. AUD is what pays my bills. Right. Like all of the other things are great and they do okay. But like the majority of my career is that series. Mm-hmm. And the idea of parking it for any period of time at all is frankly terrifying.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Diggory, I got 1 more book of Diggory, but that ends the Diggory series. And Diggory did pretty well, but not anywhere near what Adrian does. So I'm leaning really heavy on this series and trying to do a lot of the legwork to launch it successfully, so I can grab a new audience and get them really excited about my writing, and hopefully tell a great story, and get people not only just interested in Glitch for Glitch's merits, but have them be like, oh, he also wrote these other things. I want to try some of that too. Because the more people who read or listen to my stuff, the better life is.
Yeah, for real, right?
Yeah.
But the thing, Robin, I'm glad to get you in on this one. Now, when you first meet a new author, as far as their work, not the person, I mean, he's here, we see him, you've interviewed him, yeehaw. But when you first get introduced to a new author's work, is there something that you require that's going to hook you? Like, otherwise they might lose you?
In terms of when I'm writing?
Yeah. As far as anything that he's doing, is there something that could just hook you right off the rip? Because we got to get her involved. She ain't in yet. We're trying to get her there.
Well, I would say that, first, I'm a cover person. I love covers. And I'll buy a book even if I don't know what it's about by the cover. The next thing that I love is snarkiness. This dry humor, jokes, swearing, blah, blah, blah. And if that's it, I'm happy.
Dude, you've got to get in on the AUD train, all the books. You've got to get in on this. You have been totally missing out. But while we're talking about covers, I want to bring up one thing real tragically, and no, it will not be disposed of. It will be figured out what to do with, because I got flooded a while back, and I kept monitoring it, and everything back here looked fine. But then AUD, the special signed one I got from you, was hanging right there where Scareville is now, and where Immortals Among Us is now. Jeannie Frederick Lewis's book was hanging, and I thought everything was safe. Speaking of covers, beautiful cover, but now we're waterlogged.
It's not too bad.
It's not. I mean, it's still readable. It's still fine, but it just makes me sick that this happened.
It's crinkled.
But by the way, so I mean, it made it, but it is crinkled, and Jeannie's book took a little bit of a hit too. I mean, it didn't come away unscathed. But here's what I find freaking interesting: is how it is that the book that was on the very top, where the water to come through, didn't get hit. The two below it did. Then the one below that, no worries. It was like it targeted the two books, and that irritates me. But anyway, totally, that bitch is everywhere. Oh, and speaking of which, how long has the Jinx Fairy been a thing in your real life? Has that been something that you came up with years ago?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. There was a period in time, and I can actually I have a memory of the night where I first wrote about the Jinx Fairy, and Adrian was ranting in the story about things that just kept going wrong, and he cracks the joke, I swear to God that I have an anti-Tinkerbell that floats around in my orbit and just jinxes my shit constantly. And that's when the Jinx Fairy was born as a running joke. And it's fairly far into the series before that actually comes up. I think it's maybe book 3 or book 4. But then once he coins the phrase, it comes up all the time. And it's the same thing with Toe Pusher. I think Toe Pusher shows up in book 2. And again,
okay, for people that don't know, what is toe pushing?
Without giving it away in the book, it's when you have to push waste down a drain.
Oh.
And the reference in the story is that sometimes you've got shit to deal with, and the only way to make it go away is to push it down the drain. And in context, it's a funny story. And from then on, he refers to really tough situations or really undesirable tasks as toe pushers.
Yeah, well, and I know that it's a military kind of a thing, but you use it, and you use it brilliantly. You drop it in all the right places. Is the old soup sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, like just man, guys, go get his books. Seriously. I mean, you hear all the crap we're talking about here right now. It's freaking entertaining.
I did the first one and I think I've got the second one ready. So I'm working on them and I'm liking the first one. So, and that's what's important. It got me. The first page was like, okay, I like this. I'm continuing. Okay, this has got me. Yeah. So it got me hooked. So yeah, yeah.
The book series itself, a lot of people struggle with the first book because Adrian owns an enormous mistake on like page 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the mistake that he makes in many people's eyes makes him a horrible person.
I'm
And
not saying him as horrible.
a lot of people think he's a horrible person. Like if you go look at the reviews, there is a significant amount of people who say like he's awful, he's wretched, he's selfish. And yeah, he is. When the story starts, he talks about making a really selfish decision and then regretting it.
Yep.
And the rest of the series is him trying to figure out how to unfuck that decision he made with his life. And the people who can't sympathize with that, like making a huge mistake and then trying to fix it, the people who can't don't like the series. But the people who have made huge mistakes and are working to repair them or move forward through them absolutely adore the series. Because
I mean, hell, my biggest successes in life are me recovering from my mistakes. So.
Exactly. The struggle
I guess I'm just odd. Because I'm past that second page. I can sympathize for him, So I don't understand why there'd be such a bad people be like that. Because
those are the same people that you try to use a paper bag to carry something when there's a banana box laying there. They're not the brightest.
They must be those softies.
Yeah. Some of them.
Yeah.
If they don't like it, they don't like it. That's fine.
All right, now, Chris, let me ask you this. Did you use any of the already out there LitRPGs to help influence how you designed your mechanics?
No.
Story. Oh, you just kind of said, I'm a game master and I got this.
Yeah, I had read several series, some in their entirety, some not, and knew that I wanted to do something that was, in the same vein and recognizable enough that the people who read lit RPGs know how they work, that they would be like, oh, okay, cool. But a big part of what makes an Undead Glitch interesting, I hope, is the fact that, he glitches in and it messes with the game system immediately, right? Like he is not interfacing with it the way he should. And, people are telling him like, what do you mean it doesn't work like that? That's the way it's supposed to work. But that's another glitch that, he's dealing with. And I knew going into it that having a unique mechanical system for how things work would be a really interesting, like literally an interesting character in the game. So no, I didn't copy anybody, and I did a very interesting system. And I'm going to give you guys a spoiler here.
Ooh.
Okay. Nobody knows this yet, really. But there is an entire story inside the story that you can piece together if you break down how the game mechanics work.
Dude, how long did you spend putting that together?
Probably a month.
Shit.
Yeah. I fully expect no one to figure it out in the first book, because like you would really need to have a little bit of very specific knowledge to be like, oh shit, he's talking about this. But the people who do figure it out are going to be just thrilled with this little secret that's running in the background. And hopefully people can figure it out, and it can become a thing that people get excited. We'll see.
All right. Well, since I hadn't thought of it, in a minute now, who was your cover designer for that?
For Glitch, I went through a company called Meeble Art, MIBL Art. They're out of Ukraine, and they have a team of artists that, 4 or 5 artists that all work together out of a studio. And A, it's Ukraine, and I'm happy to send money to Ukraine right now. And B, when I was working or networking with a bunch of the LitRPG people, out of like the 5 people that I'm on a speaking relationship with, 3 of them used Meeble art. And when they're doing 60% of the covers of the people that I look up to, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because they do great illustrated art. Remy Covervillain, the company that I use for Diggory and for the redo hardcover images for Adrian, he's great. He's fantastic. I love him. He doesn't do illustrated covers. He does photographic photo manipulation, that kind of stuff. And I didn't want that for this. I wanted to look like a game book. I wanted it to have that clear feel. And Meeble art does that, and they did a fantastic job.
Well, now that's something I have noticed with a lot of the covers for the lit RPGs that I've checked out. They're flashier. They have more color, more vibrant things going on. It's more explosive, when you look at it. And, they'll incorporate even Dungeon Crawler Carl, again, that guy. He incorporates a lot of what you're going to get in the story in the cover. So it's like it's already kind of there, kind of as a teaser before you go in. And you did the same thing, and it's beautiful. I love that cover.
Thank you. Another one that's really fun, if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl, is Discount Dan's Backroom Bargains.
Yes.
Which is a great series. James Hunter, the guy who writes that, he and I hung out in May at an Audible authors conference, and we spent 3 days together hanging out, and he and I got along like 2 peas in a pod. And he's been a huge help with getting Glitch rolling in that fan base of his. And outside of the fact that I consider him, a great acquaintance, and I would say we're at the point of being able to call each other friends. Outside of that, his books are really fun. He has great characters. He has great humor. There's an artificial dog made out of croc material.
I love it.
And that's his Otis kind of a character. And it's just a lot of fun. It's
now,
just a really great
did you
series.
pick up on what I did? If you listen to the audiobook for that, totally off subject because we're supposed to be promoting you, but you got me on one I got to ask you about. The character in Thor, the big guy in rock, this all stone, the voice for Croc sounds exactly like the big stone guy in the Avengers Thor movie.
Yeah.
You think, oh, hello there, Dan. I think we should probably go down here today, but it's okay if you don't want to go. We could just go over there because it's probably more safe. But of course, you're going to want to go get us into a bloodletting, but that's okay too. I love that character. It's just so well done. Freaking well done. Well, I'm just going to put it out there so I can have it on, Memorex over here. You got to get him on this show, and you can come co-host with us. We need James on this damn show because I am hooked.
I'll message him.
And I didn't realize that his series was only up to where it was when I got it because I thought it was longer and more of it. And then I'm like, now I gotta wait.
Well, he's got the bigger one. Discount Dan is new.
Yeah, I love Discount Dan though.
And his other one I think is Viridian Gate Online, which is much more fantasy, D&D-ish, that kind of thing. More towards that. And Discount Dan is like gritty aliens and monsters and weird supernatural stuff. And it's
the poor guy
it doesn't make sense, but it's fun.
And the poor guy just wants to be a merchant.
Yeah.
At this point, he's just trying to build a shop, and adding stuff. And, it's just wild. So yeah, check that one out, everybody. Discount Dan, James Hunter, go get it. It's great. But make sure you have the pre-order in for what Chris has going on. And dude, we've been rolling for a while. I know you got stuff to do, and we have rocked past our hour as I expected. No surprise there. But man, thank you again for doing this with us. Is there anything you want to add as we head out the door?
I mean, I always try to close with a thank you. Anybody who takes the time to have me on, thank you. Anybody who takes the time to watch or listen, thank you. I am not a juggernaut in the publishing industry. I have to hustle, I have to work. And the support of every single person matters. Everything is appreciated. Even the bad reviews I appreciate. So thank you.
Hey, I'm going to throw this out there too, because I want to give my man a shot, because I know he's been a little down lately. Chris is also an editor for the Bad Wabbit comic book series by Anthony Castro. Yep. Y'all need to go check that out, because, man, those are some damn good comics. They are good. Seriously good. And I've got my set. I mean,
I got to check those out. I haven't done that yet, so I need to do that.
They're fun.
I like supporting all of y'all, all the indie authors, all of them. I love all these guys. And Chris, I am really enjoying this series. I'm not that far into it, but I'm liking it. Like I said, it had me intrigued the first couple of pages, and like I said, I got the second book waiting. I'm getting there. So,
as someone that's current on the series as well as all the other stuff, you have just jumped into a rabbit hole that you will not escape. You will wander around that thing for life, and you will love every freaking second. It's just awesomeness. Robin, do you have any parting shots for our guest here today?
I just have to say thank you for the interview on Voices Between the Spines and your advice I took. So thank you very much. And thank you for coming on today on Shitz and Giggles. So
happy to
and
be
anytime
here.
you want to post on the group, you can.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Get it out there, flood it, get everybody up on everything. All right, well, I end these shows the way I always do. First off, Kathy, I know you don't have a book, I know you don't have a story, yada, 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 but you do have a group where people can find you for really good homemade foods that they can get ordered. So where can they find that?
Well, my Facebook page, but pretty much just send me a message or whatever, and I do ship. Robin knows all about my stuff, and I got a new mold that's a D&D dice that holds your D&D dice that I'm going to be working on resin-wise. And in May, I will be at the Heathen Vikings Festival in PA, so you'll be able to find me there. But yeah, just if you want something homemade, from jams to salsa, whatever, just send me a message on Facebook and I'll send it to you, because I sell it cheap, $5 a jar. So, hey,
And it tastes so good. Oh my golly.
Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, Robin, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at robinsreview.info or reading Between the Spines. Sorry. I always forget those underscores. Reading Between the Spines Facebook group. So
fantastic. All right, Chris, I know you got a slew of places everybody can find you, and I know that you know that there's so many people already know where to find you, but we're always looking for the new guy, the new gal, the new person, the new thing, the new everything. Where can everybody find you?
The easiest way is to just put my name here into Google, and the first few things that pop up will push you there. I'm most active on Facebook. So if you're looking to connect with me personally, just go to Facebook and drop my name in. I have an author page and a personal profile. You can send me a request or a follow. Professionally, if you're looking to follow me as a writer, you can go to thechrisphilbrook.com, which is my website. Or you can go to like Barnes & Noble or Amazon or any fine retailer and just drop my name in, and you'll find my stuff.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy's a best-selling author for a fucking reason. All right, I even edited myself a little bit there to have a little bit of class on this, but this guy, I hadn't gone to him yet back in the day because I was a Mark Tufo guy. Like it was Pepsi and Coke. I don't know why that was even a thing. But Richard Ryan Rose kept pushing me on getting into the AUD series, and I did. And once I did, it's been freaking amazing since. So everybody, seriously, get on the Chris Philbrook bandwagon. It used to be the AUD bandwagon, but good God, he's got so much good stuff going right now. Get ready for the Undead Glitch. Get ready for his next big thing. Let's push it all out there to the front. Let's make it happen. And for Robin, for Kathy, for my guy, my sexy boo, Chris, this has been Shits and Giggles. I'm your toothless terror, Jack Childress. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.